What's up, guys? It's Primetime Poulton. Sorry we're a little late. Uh, Technical difficulties, but have no fear. We are here. I am the best book machine. With me, my good brother, main event, Phil McNulty. Phil, man, how you doing?
I think I'm gonna like this prime time on the Saturday night's main event.
I like it.
With I think it'd be a good time. Maybe hopefully get a few more people in the chat on the broadcast.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get over this new nickname, the best book machine.
Hey,
Do you think it'll get over?
I'll make it get over.
uh, so there's a lot of wrestling to talk. Big,
Mhm.
big week, especially for AEW. Before we get into that, you mind if I pay some bills? Do a
Go
little
ahead.
pimping?
Go
All
ahead.
right. So this week came out Tuesday. I'm going to share it with the audience. An American Wolf in London, another Eddie Edwards story. You can get this book on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. Really proud with how this book turned out. It's the second book I did with Impact Wrestling superstar, the heart and soul of Impact Wrestling, if you will, diehard Eddie Edwards. I co-wrote it with Eddie. I did all the artwork. Well, I had help by Dexter Weeks, who did inks and colors on the book. And you contributed a pinup. So I'm going to give you a little backstory to your pinup because you took a little bit of time to get it done.
Mhm.
The book actually went to the printer without your pinup, but then I showed it to the publisher and said, "Hey, can we get this in the book?" And
Mhm.
she was like, "Absolutely." So there's going to be a running change, and your pinup is now in the book.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
So for the collectors out there, there's two versions of the book. The early edition, which is shipping out right now, but then all future orders will have Phil's pinup in it. And you know, while while we're talking about this book, do you mind if I share your pinup?
Go ahead. Go right ahead.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna remove that, and let's see. Here we go. There it is. I think it turned out fantastic. Yeah, I showed it to Eddie and the publisher, and they both loved it.
Fantastic.
So yeah, it's in the book, man.
All right. I'm
Very,
glad.
very excited.
Yeah, I'm
So
glad to have done it. I mean, I was trying to capture Eddie's likeness as much as possible. I always knew I wanted to do some sort of like back alley pose type deal,
mhm.
and it was super fun to do. I had my girlfriend Leah actually color this bad boy, so I penciled and inked it, and it's always hard for me to give my work to a colorist because I remember first out of the gate someone like instead of doing it underneath the layer, they put it on top there, and it made my killed every work I did. So I'm always like, I'll do flat colors unless somebody can do it. So I was really proud of actually the color work. So shout out to my girlfriend Leah who colored it.
That's awesome. I didn't realize she was an artist too.
Yeah, she's not only is she a fellow artist, she's a fellow art teacher as well. So
Oh wow, that's awesome, man. So that's it for an American Wolf in London, another Eddie Edwards story. Make sure you get it Amazon, Barnes and Noble. Eventually, when things start to open up, I'll be doing appearances, comic conventions, maybe a few bookstore signings to promote this. In the meantime, you can pre-order it. And hey, man, show me you got it, and I'll send you a sketch. So
look at
there
that.
you go. Yeah, man.
Free and I will you know what? I'll send a drawing of the kendo stick. My favorite, one of my favorite things to illustrate about it. So I'll
That's
double up
awesome.
on that sketch thing. I will do a sketch of Kenny the kendo stick, and it'll ship out with Mark's sketch.
That's awesome, man. Thanks, Phil.
No problem.
All right, so just one more book to shill. Sea Dog and Codename Kill Switch currently on Indiegogo. Book two. We're killing it. We're only about $600 away, Phil, from hitting the first stretch goal, the ten
Nice.
thousand dollar stretch goal. That'll be 5 figures for Sea Dog. So if we hit that, every backer gets a 6x9 print, and we're going 90s. It's going to be Marvel swimsuit issue style. So one of the beautiful ladies from Codename Kill Switch will be on the print. The first one will be Neon. The second one will be Rebel, and then after that, we'll see how it goes. But I'm really excited. It took us like almost a month to get where we currently are, and we still got about 8 days left in the first 30 days of the campaign. So things are really going well. I have Viking Wolf ready to go once Sea Dog and Codename Kill Switch wraps up in March. So it's exciting times, busy times for me and everyone at Haunted Pizza. That's my company. But Phil, oh, you know what? Let me pull up the Indiegogo. I didn't do that.
Yeah, go pull it up.
Yeah.
And I love the John Malin line art variant. I think that's super cool.
Thank you. So I'm going to play the video for people.
Sea Dog and Codename Kill Switch return in an all-new 48-page graphic novel by Mark Poulton and Clint Kolinsky, featuring Sea Dog, Soldier 7, Rebel, Tundra, Neon, Stormborn, and Crotch Rocket. Only on Indiegogo.
That was my dog Noel doing a run-in at the end of that video. So, there's lots of great tiers you can back. Our featured tier is the triple threat. And Phil mentioned we have a line art variant by John Malin. That's a reprint of book 1. So if you missed out the first time around, you can get book 1. And then there's 2 covers for book 2. One by the artist of the book, Clint Holinsky. He's also the creator of Codename Kill Switch. And we have a special variant cover by Dan Fraga of Black Flag, Kid Supreme, Bloodstrike fame, one of my all-time favorite artists. He's doing this. He sent us this layout. It's going to be Sea Dog in his rap persona, doing a graffiti spray paint mural of Codename Kill Switch on the wall behind him. It's going to look awesome. His guys, Shelby Robertson is inking it. Matt Yackey's coloring. It's going to look fantastic. So that's one that you're going to want to jump on. For $25, we have Clint's cover. $25, you can get Dan Fraga's cover, or you can get the book 1 John Malin line art variant. Let me show you that. The detail on this cover is incredible. John just went crazy on this. He did this for our first campaign last year, and we had it colored up by Anthony George, Graveyard Shift colorist, one of my favorite colorists around. But the line art itself is just so stunning that we decided to use it for the reprint this time around. Get the most value out of it. $50, you can get both covers to book 2. For $125, it's the fan pack. You get Clint and Dan's cover to book 2, John's cover to book 1, and you get a sketch from Clint Holinsky. And Clint's sketches are it's a disservice even calling them sketches. They're more like commissions. They're so nice. And if you signed up for our mailing list, you could have got this fan pack for $100. So that's incentive, man, for people out there. If you see these mailing lists for Indiegogo, sign up. This one saved you $25. So it's definitely a great perk to great reason to sign up for these mailing lists. And then finally, our high end tier, $200, the Babe box. You get all the books, not only from this campaign, but from the first campaign, sketches from me and Clint, trading cards, prints, and I just added this week, you're going to get a Sea Dog pop socket featuring artwork by 6 a.m. Comics. So it's a great value. 7 people have already jumped on the Babe box. I'm just so excited about this book. The artwork's fantastic. Clint and our colorist Andrew Dahlhaus, I think, are one of the best art teams around. They're just they just really click, and it just brings out the best in Clint's artwork. It really pops. I mean, look at these pages.
Clint is one of those artists I haven't met in person yet, but I can't wait to when the con scenes come back again and actually meet the guy, because I absolutely love his artwork. I think we have very much similar styles. We are sort of those 90 revivalists, loving that, because just the cross hatching alone on Crotch Rocket's cheeks are just phenomenal. They just are so good. And Andrew's coloring, it just leads you to those hatching as opposed to covering it up. So the art is just so good on this book.
So I mentioned we're about $600 away from the first stretch goal, the 6x9 mini print. This is what the mini print's going to look like. If you remember those great Marvel swimsuit issues back in the day, back in the 90s, when comics were the absolute best as far as I'm concerned. I always made sure to get the Marvel swimsuit edition. The artists were just going all out, depicting not only the beautiful ladies, but you would get like crazy stuff like Punisher in a Speedo, or Harry Wolverine in a Speedo. So anyway, guys, I would really appreciate it if you checked out Sea Dog and Codename Kill Switch. Phil, you ready to talk some wrestling?
Let's go do it.
All right, man. Let's dive into Impact Wrestling. Impact, I thought this was a great rebound episode from last week. If people remember, we were a little hard on Impact last week, and it's very unlike us.
I think rightfully so. I felt like they sold us a bill of goods and then it didn't deliver. It's like when I ordered Domino's the other day and it said it was delivered and it wasn't at my front door. I was like, well, I wasn't mad. I was just disappointed. And I felt like Impact had to be called out on their shit, because now we got this episode as a result.
Well, we got to be a little easy on them. After 7 months, they finally delivered a bad episode.
That's true. But,
yeah.
Again, it's because we expect greatness from them, that when they hand us a bomb like this, we're just like, oh, no.
And you know what? Last week, they started off very unlike Impact, with someone coming out to the ring, Rich Swann, and doing a promo. Usually they dive right into the action. That's what we've come to expect for an Impact, and they're back on track this week. They go right to the ring. We have Tasha Steelz going up against Havoc. They both have their tag team partners in their corners, Kira Hogan and Nevaeh. This was a fun match. A lot of back and forth cheating between the two teammates at ringside. Finally, Nevaeh gets the best, the upper hand on the cheating angle, and that leads to Havoc hitting the tombstone on Tasha Steelz. Havoc gets the win with the assist from Nevaeh. This was a fun match. I really like this feud. I like the team of Tasha and Kira Hogan. They're fun. They have a lot of personality. And you were a little hard on Nevaeh in the beginning. I think she's come a long way. Her and Havoc, I think, have really gelled as a team.
Yeah, here's the thing. I have a type, and it's strong, beautiful women. Havoc and Jordan Grace, right? My type, right? And Nevaeh has that has that look, but didn't have that presence. It's fun when she cheated and they got the victory on this. I'm like, finally, like, yes, like, keep going. And I mean, Havoc is just amazing in the ring. Her and Tasha Steelz have such good chemistry. This whole feud is been fantastic, with the women, with the Knockouts title being sort of on the bottom. These two teams have really made like the Knockouts division really center around those tag belts, and it's really been the best, possibly the best female wrestling storyline going in all of professional wrestling.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. The Knockouts tag team titles have really taken center stage compared to the women's world title at Impact. And I'm not complaining. There's really not any challenger for Deonna Purrazzo right now, and we'll get into that more. Next up, we get a recap of the whole Ken Shamrock situation. He's been suspended by Impact Wrestling. This is a little weird. Sammy Callahan's in Scott D'Amore's office, and he agrees with Scott D'Amore. I don't know where this is leading. I don't know if this is a way of writing Ken Shamrock off TV. I don't know if he's gone or what, but what are your thoughts on this, Phil?
This was weird, but in a good way. In a way that it seems like Ken, in this whole set with Sammy Callahan, we know who the real ass kicker is, right? We know it's Ken Shamrock, and I think the every time they're together, you take a look at Ken Shamrock. He's in his damn near 60. He's getting damn near 60 years old, and he looks like his body's like rock hard, and he looks like he's just gonna beat the crap out of anybody. And then you see Sammy Callahan is a good 2 decades younger than him, and you're just like, which one are we supposed to take serious? So I think it's a good way for Sammy to be like, you know what, everybody hates me. Yeah, I agree. He needs some time off, right? But that's because everybody hates us. So I think it kind of writes Ken Shamrock off a bit to sort of bring the spotlight to Sammy, which again is needed in today's wrestling industry when you have someone like Edge winning the Rumble. You still need those younger guys to get to the next step.
Yeah. We go backstage. The Good Brothers are there. They're hamming up. They're talking. They're bringing back their beat up John Cena, but they've adapted it for 2021. It's now beat up John Moxley. That's what they do best. Chris Sabin, James Storm, Impact legends, TNA legends. They come around the corner and they want a title shot. They were screwed over by Private Party, and they feel like their status as legends speaks for itself. They're part of the 2 best tag teams of all time: Motor City Machine Guns, Beer Money. And surprisingly, the Good Brothers are like, yeah, we'll fight you. We'll fight you next week. I'm looking forward to this, just because I love Cowboy James Storm. I did a book with him early last year. Love Chris Sabin. The Machine Guns are the absolute best team in the world when they're together, as far as I'm concerned. So I think this will be a great match.
Has anyone had a better week than the Good Brothers this week in professional wrestling? Seriously, I was talking to my sister today, and I said, you know what? It's such a shame the Good Brothers didn't sign with AEW. And then I realized, because AEW has an open door, it's the best thing that they haven't signed with AEW, because it leads to the storyline. They're Impact guys that are just not main event on Impact, they're main event on AEW, and eventually they're going to be back to being main event on New Japan, as we'll learn with our Dynamite recap. But did anyone seriously have a better week than the Good Brothers this week? Because they are just, we're gonna fight you, and we're gonna kick your ass, and we're gonna be dicks about it, and that's what made them awesome to begin with.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Next up, we have. I do want to say this. So the match is actually going to happen next week, and that's another thing Impact does. Great. They set up matches for next week. They set up matches for the pay-per-view. So good work on Impact. We know one of the matches going into next week, Sabin and Storm versus the Good Brothers. Next up, we're back to the ring. We have Madman Fulton versus Josh Alexander. Fulton has Ace Austin with him. So Josh Alexander gets the hard-fought win. This is kind of a head-scratcher. Why does Ace Austin win the X Cup, but he's not in the X Division picture? It seems like he's being paired up with Josh Alexander. It's almost like, like us, we realize Ace Austin is better than the X Division, and Impact realizes that too.
There was one low light on this show, and it was the X Division match. And you just like, we'll get into that. But this, I guess they're giving Josh Alexander the push. I don't know because it didn't seem like they were. I don't know if this is some sort of jaded heart lover thing where they're just like, oh, Ethan Page is gone. Let's push the guy who he was tagging with, right? It was a good match, but I don't understand what they're doing with Ace Austin. I don't understand. I mean, Madman Fulton, this is probably the best we've seen of him. Don't I think that's a testament to Josh Alexander? But man, I don't know what they're doing with Ace Austin. That's all I could think about during this match, which is a shame because the match is pretty darn good.
Yeah. So next up, as far as I'm concerned, is the segment of the show. We have Brian Myers coming out with an eye patch, looking like pirate Carl Willett from WWE back in the 90s. Impact, good job on them. They're selling those eye patches. But he comes out, he's pissed off that Eddie Edwards has practically blinded him. The most professional wrestler, some backyarder has blinded him. Eddie Edwards comes out, and before he can get his hands on Brian Myers, Super Mex Hernandez blindsides him. They start working over Eddie. Who comes to the rescue? It's always ready, Matt Cardona. Matt Cardona clears the ring. He's yelling at Brian Myers. Myers is yelling back at him. I don't know if you've caught any other back and forth on Twitter this past week, but Myers delivered the death blow when he said he was going to prove what AEW found out in 3 weeks, that Matt Cardona is worthless.
I'm ready for the Matt Cardona heel turn. I think this is all good. This is all just one giant swerve. This is gonna be Cardona and Myers beating the crap out of Eddie Edwards, right? And I don't know why Hernandez is in it other than to push that story, but I'm in. This is the most entertaining, entertaining and interested in Hernandez that I've been. I think Brian Myers he's tops, man. Him and Moose are just your pillars, and I'm glad Moose and the main event got his due. This is what Impact is, and good storytelling. When you forget, I literally forgot this was happening in a wrestling ring. I forgot that there were no fans in it, and I was just locked in on the story, and that's how good the segment is. In this COVID era, this is one of the highlights of professional wrestling.
Yeah, so I was gonna. You and I were on the same page on this. I was gonna ask you if you think Cardona is going to turn. That's what I'm thinking too. You're going to get Hawkins and Ryder back, which would make a loaded tag division even more loaded. So yeah, I can't wait to see this play out. So this is going to be a pay-per-view match because Eddie and Matt go backstage and they get their wish. They're going to face Myers and Hernandez at the pay-per-view next weekend. Super stoked for that. Next up, backstage segment, we have Johnny Swinger. He's running a casino. I don't get me wrong. I love any way we get Johnny Swinger. Is there an end game to this?
I don't know, and I don't care. Just give me more Johnny Swinger. This is the perfect usage of Johnny Swinger at a time where your comedy acts from Wrestle House are going on to main event pictures right now. Tommy Dreamer is going to have a Impact championship match coming up at the Pape. You've got Tommy Dreamer in the main event now. You've got Triple XL heading towards their revived push. You know, it seems like we're getting a little bit more of that Wrestle House fun storyline turn a little bit more serious. So I don't know what it is. It's probably going to introduce somebody or something, but I'm in. I hope we get some more Swinger Casino merch now.
Yeah, man, I'm all for it. Speaking of Triple XL, next up we get Crazy Steve versus Larry D. I love this new serious Triple XL. What I love even more, them walking down the ramp and the camera is shaking. That's old school WWF earthquake and typhoon gimmick. I absolutely adore it. But I love even more how badass Larry D is. He gets the knockout victory over Crazy Steve. This is money, man. They're building these guys great.
I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it because every week it seems like, well, at least once a week, one thing call out AEW all the time is, why are these squash matches so long, right? No, it's not a squash match. It's just a long job match. And you're just like, I'm not in for this. It does no favor for the person who's supposed to get over. The jobbers still know they're going to lose, right? We still know he's going to do the job for him. Why is it wasting our time? This Crazy Steve was just competing for the X Division championship. He just pinned Ace Austin before the X Cup tournament took place at the pay-per-view. And Larry D knocks him the F out. And it just says, all right, you took a guy who is always losing, but gets that once in a while win to elevate, to kind of elevate a story and elevate maybe his cachet. And they just knocked him right out in this match. And this is what a squash match does. Now Larry D is even crazier. We knew that he was, after he was going to Motor City Machine Guns, we were like, I love Triple XL. They're starting this turn. They're losing matches, but they're winning. This is exactly what they need. Kudos to Impact knowing what they got in Triple XL.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to be involved with Decay for a little while longer. They took a powder when Rosemary came near them, so it's going to be interesting. Do they bring in another member of Decay? Who knows? It'll be interesting to see. But I'm loving Triple XL right now. Another segment that I actually surprisingly liked was next. And this is the interview with Trey Miguel. Now, we sort of poo-pooed all over the big surprise return of Trey Miguel. And, the way he was presented last week is completely different the way he was portrayed this week in this interview. He called the Rascals crutches. So he's heel turn for Trey Miguel. And who likes it besides us? Sammy Callahan likes it.
This is the best way. This is what's best for him, because right now the MSK, formerly known as the Rascals, are basically being pushed right now as your top flight tag team in NXT right now. They're going through the Dusty Cup. They're probably going to win it. Probably going to challenge for the belts, become champion, because NXT. I don't even know who their tag champs are after having an amazing run with tag team champions. I don't even know who it is right now. I think it's Imperium or something like that. Who knows? Anyway, Trey Miguel just cutting those guys down at the knees popped me, because I thought, all right, Trey, I see you, dude. You can do it, man. Just keep cutting promos like this. As he said, they held him back. So let's see if it rings true.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Next up, we have Jordynne Grace defeating Susan. That's not really the story here. The story is the return of ODB, one of the Knockout originals. So, we were saying the Knockout tag titles have taken front and center stage with Impact over the World Championship. We just bring in ODB. I'm sort of for this. If they're going to bring in some legends, just give some challengers for Deonna to knock off as they start to heat Jordynne Grace back up for one more bout with Deonna. What do you think?
I know we say it every time. We say it all the time about Jordynne Grace's contract status. This seems like the final hurrah for Jordynne Grace. I think.
Yeah.
I remember when John Morrison left the WWE, he had that weird championship match against The Miz, right? And he ended up losing that, and John Laurinaitis, future endeavored him and all that. And I thought, why are they doing that? And here in his contract, he had one title match left on his contract. Same thing for Drew McIntyre before he was released. He was with the 3-man band, but he had a weird Intercontinental Championship match, lost, and was never seen from again. I think this is Jordynne Grace's final championship match. That's probably owed to her. Her contract is probably running up from what we saw on the, if you believe what the dirt sheets have on there. And I think it's a good way for Impact to sort of keep the door open, because I assume it's sort of like that Ethan Page. They're going to film all of it, and then they'll have time to start contract negotiations. I think this is one of those times that, like, listen, we still care about you. We still think you're a pillar, even though you're not champion right now. What will happen, time will only tell. But I loved this match. I think Jordynne Grace I'm going to say it right now, Jordynne Grace is the best female wrestler on the planet right now. Come at me.
I'm not going to disagree with you. I don't think she's been portrayed the best by Impact, but I will say it's great to see ODB back. She was always one of my favorites. Next up, you already made your feelings known on this. X Division non-title match. Rohit Raju versus the X Division champion TJP. I want to say I actually like this match. TJP. There's a lot of back and forth. TJP goes under the ring. They don't know where he's going to come out. Is he going to come out as Manic? But he doesn't. He is stopped. Mahabali Shira is under the ring. Long gone Mahabali Shira. He returns. He has TJP by the throat, choke slams him on the corner of the ring. Phil, did you know that's the hardest part of the ring?
I've been told by Michael Cole, JR, Tony Schiavone, Excalibur, Corey Graves, and now D'Lo Brown and Matt Stryker. They just add them onto the list.
Yeah, so Rohit Raju gets the victory. I guess this opens the door for another title shot for him, but he is paired up with Mahabali Shira now, who is heavy. I like this. I like this pairing. Makes Rohit a little more serious. He had been sort of almost a comedy character for the past, I don't know, 6 months. So I like it.
Yeah, it's this is a dead horse that somehow was made into Elmer's glue, and now we're gluing this back together again. I think Shearer, he looks good. He looks amazing. Actually,
he looks bigger than ever.
Yeah, let's see where this goes, or if it goes to Madman Fulton territory. Only time will tell. I don't think Impact hasn't really had the best record when it comes to heaters. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Next up, a video package of Violent by Design. They make the offer to Cousin Jake to join them. And then we go to Cousin Jake, who is backstage, and he says he will give them his answer next week. How do you think this is going to play out?
Cousin Jake has somebody. How's Heath Slater doing with his injury? Is he healed up yet or no?
No, in fact, he's going to need surgery, so he's going to be out even longer. Yeah.
I thought this could be a way for Violent by Design comes out, and then Slater and Rhino come in and make the save. Only thing I could think about is he goes, hell no. He gets beat up, and somebody runs out to save him. Maybe another surprise. Maybe another callback from TNA Originals, right? Something to bring it back, because I don't see Cousin Jake joining, and I don't see it as them just squashing him and that being it.
Yeah. Heath Slater on Heath Miller, now known as, and on his Instagram said he got news he didn't want to hear that his injury was worse than expected and he's going to need surgery. Who knows? Maybe he could be swerving us, but it sounds like he's going to be out a lot longer, which is a shame because he was one of the most enjoyable parts of Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, he was actually a really good signing, and really brought some life back into the product. I remember just watching, saying who's going to show up, and him and Brian Myers really were such good signings that when we look back on them now, I'm thinking Impact knew exactly what they're going to do with him. So it's such a shame that he can't keep fulfilling that sort of storyline.
Yeah. It's main event time now. Tag team match, Rich Swann teaming up with his opponent at the next pay-per-view, Tommy Dreamer, against Moose and Chris Bay. So before the match, there was some backstage segments, and Rich Swann was telling Dreamer to take it easy out there. You know, he doesn't want to risk him getting hurt before the match, and you know he's younger, he's got this. And you could tell Tommy Dreamer was put off by that and says he carries his own weight. So they were teasing some tension, and that's what we got in the match. Rich Swann would make a fast tag when Dreamer wasn't expecting it, which led to Moose getting the pinfall. I really like the pairing of Moose and Chris Bay. I like Chris Bay if they continue this being like Moose's flunky or sidekick that Moose doesn't really want.
Can we talk about something? As soon as Chris Bay left the X Division, isn't it amazing our views on him have changed?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. One little thing, Chris, like here's here I am putting over Chris Bay, which I never did before. But did you see when him and Moose raised their hands and Chris Bay had his hand near that TNA title and his eyes got big and lit up? I was like, oh, there's something there.
Yeah, I think Chris Bay. I think it's going to do is going to heat up. It's going to heat up this feud. It's going to heat up the belt, the TNA championship, because I ultimately think it is going to go down between Rich Swann and Moose, and it will unify the belts. And I hope we get the swerve and that Moose wins and says it's going to be the TNA Impact or something crazy like that. But I think Moose is such a wrestling fan, and we see it in his moveset, we see it in his presentation, we see it in his theme, his robe. I think he will go full on Jericho, undisputed champion route. I think he'll keep both, and I think we're gonna get. I think Moose is just gonna deliver so many good episodes in the future. Like he's doing it now, but my goodness, like isn't this is exactly what I see from Impact. I don't want to see Rich Swann win. I don't care about him as the champion, and I now care more about Tommy Dreamer. And I think that match served everything we needed.
Yeah, so we have one more Impact before the pay-per-view next weekend. I'm sure there'll be more dissension between Dreamer and Rich Swann. Dreamer really doesn't have a chance at the pay-per-view because the real story is Rich Swann and Moose. But still, I'm looking forward to it. Dreamer's never had a world title shot in Impact, so it should be fun.
This is a good week for wrestling. Impact was just like the best appetizer, and then Dynamite was the best main course, and it just made me once again excited for wrestling, which is weird coming after a Royal Rumble that kind of bummed me out.
Yeah, so that's it for Impact. One last thing, I thought it was pretty cool. They were playing the Good Brothers action figure commercials during Impact, and it's not an Impact product, but they're doing their talent solid by pimping their stuff out there. And those action figures look fantastic. They're made by Super 7, the same ones that made the Cardona and Myers figures, which I pre-ordered. I think they look fantastic. If Super 7 continues to make Impact wrestlers, sign me up. I'll get them all.
I think this such a nice change of pace, seeing where the wrestling world is coming to now. They understand that there's one juggernaut chain, and it's WWE, which has become McDonald's. You can't take out McDonald's. You just can't. But if Burger King and Chick-fil-A and Wendy's, right, if they all come together, right, and Taco Bell, like KFC, you want to go explore more options. And those all together can topple McDonald's. Like it will never say, oh, McDonald's is not the number one fast food chain anymore, but it can put a dent in it. And I like that's what Impact is doing. It's once again saying, all right, we're going to put the talent's needs first. It's now Impact can go to AEW. AEW can come over and help our show. It's just a nice week in wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely. And to continue that week, let's talk about AEW. I'm excited to hear what you thought about it because you messaged me right after watching it saying how much you absolutely loved it.
I think this is professional wrestling. Even the worst part being the wedding, which we'll cover, right? It was still the most professional wrestling thing that we see. Dynamite has their up and their down shows, and sometimes it's hard for them to string two good episodes together. But I didn't think I was gonna like Beach. I think because my expectations were low for Beach Break Night 1, because Night 2 had like the better card. And now it's gotten even better. And this was such a solid output. So it started with the tag team battle royal, the best battle royal we saw in the past week. And we had a few cool spots in there, but mainly it was the Good Brothers who came in and sort of helped distract, and get Matt Jackson dumped over by MJF, sort of furthering that little inner fight between the Bullet Club.
Yeah, there was one confusing thing. So Matt Jackson got thrown out. He landed on the ramp. His feet never landed on the floor, did it?
Uh,
Were they counting the ramp as the
I
floor?
think they're gonna count the ramp as the floor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I kept waiting for him to come back. But yeah, this battle royal was really exciting. There's a lot of storylines going on within it, especially with the inner circle, Sammy Guevara, and MJF and Jericho. It was a lot of fun. Jericho and MJF get the victory. Jericho eliminates Sammy. He's not happy about it.
Mm.
So yeah, this there was a lot going on, and it was really exciting.
I mean, Jericho and MJF are not winning this match, right? But it's nice to see that it furthers. Remember, just a few weeks ago, we were saying, "What's up with the inner circle? They seem stagnant." This is when the inner circle's at its best, when they're so storyline heavy, and they continue that storyline in the ring. And Sammy is gonna be he's gonna be such a megastar babyface. We're waiting for him to either pop Jericho or to pop MJF in the face, and I'm glad that fans are gonna be in attendance when it happens because I'm super stoked for what's to come for the inner circle. So next up, we had Darby Allin and Sting addressing their Revolution Street fight. This is a total 180 from last Darby Allin Sting promo. This one made sense, and this did you not feel like intimidated by Sting? And during this promo, this was classic height of WCW era Sting promo.
Yeah, no, I love Sting. I
Mhm.
even loved his hoodlum promo the previous week. But yeah, you know, this they've been teasing us for weeks. I'm ready for this matchup. I want it. I want to see Sting in action. It's been way too long. I can't wait for this match.
And I love the fact that like Taz referenced that they couldn't be in the building tonight because of their actions last week, right? But that still wasn't going to stop them from just addressing them because they weren't going to take what Sting and Darby Allin were going to say. And then when Sting calls out Ricky Starks, if one wrestler on the AEW roster is going to make someone look good, it's going to be Ricky Starks. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see Sting just like lock up and sort of look into his eyes and sort of have Ricky Starks powder off because they've been setting it up. I'm excited, and that's the first time I've been excited about this match, quite frankly.
And
So
and next week, Darby has Joey Janela for the TNT title, and Taz has said they're going to be there. And on Twitter, Darby Allin says he wants the Joey Janela that was main eventing AEW. He doesn't want this current version of Joey Janela. So a little shade thrown. I hope it brings out the best. I feel like Joey Janela needs. Have you seen the commercial for his upcoming spring break?
I haven't.
He's taken on Ricky Morton, and the promo is absolutely awesome. I think that's like Janela's
Mhm.
one of his best attributes is that he's a creative guy. He comes up with great promo, like vignettes. Even that vignette with him and Sonny Kiss on the road to we joked on the road to nowhere because our tag team never went anywhere. That was fantastic. Little piece of film. So I'm rooting for Joey Janela. I want to see him do his best. He's losing to Darby next week,
Mhm.
but I want to see him succeed.
I think Joey Janela is going to find himself, and there's nothing wrong with this. Find himself as a producer backstage, and I think that's probably where he's best suited for this part of his career. Early on, he was making the name in the Indies. He had a couple bad injuries, and you could just tell his in-ring work has been slowly declining. His physique has been declining. And normally you call out wrestlers for being, call out saying, "Oh, they're lazy, they're not working out." I think Joey Janela is just so beat up and so injured all the time that I think a transition to actually putting talent over and becoming a backstage producer is probably the best thing for him upcoming.
Before that happens, I just want to see a CZW type faction with him, Moxley, Eddie Kingston and Sick Nick Mondo, who works backstage, or at least he was for AEW. That would make an East Coast guy, super happy.
So, if it weren't for this main event, I'd be talking about probably the match of the night, the best match in AEW's female wrestler division history. We had Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker just beat the shit out of each other for like 15 minutes, and the match it really just showed Britt Baker as the dastardly heel she is, and Thunder Rosa just the badass that she is. And the match ended when Britt Baker sort of was taking apart the ring post earlier, having the exposed turnbuckle on there, and she just flings Thunder Rosa right into that section. Her head gets knocked out, and she's passed out, and Britt Baker still puts in that lockjaw submission to where the referee's just like out. And I love the outrage from JR on commentary, really saying, damn it, ref, don't you see she's out? Why are you letting this happen? I think that even added more. And JR, we shit on JR a lot on this podcast, but this was the time that he just really nailed it home. It's fantastic.
Well, you shit on JR a lot. I love JR.
Look, I love JR. I looked through my phone the other day. I had memories of when I saw him about like 7 years ago do a live podcast in Jersey that I went to. So
yeah, so we said it. They're Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. They're two top female stars in AEW. Why even do this eliminator tournament? You know these two are the top ones. They should just do a best of 7 with them. Winner gets the title shot against Shida.
Whoever wins this tournament is your next AEW Women's Champion.
Yeah.
I think the Shida's just time is running. Of course, she never wrestles. I sometimes forget there's a Women's Champion. So next up, we have a continuation of the Hangman Page storyline where him and Matt Hardy sort of defeat Chaos Project, in which was a real quick, nice match where Hangman hits that buckshot lariat and Matt Hardy tags himself in and takes the win.
I love Big Money Matt. He's the best.
I think this is the slow build to Hangman's AEW championship victory. I think him turning down everybody, because remember, he wanted Kenny to be back in a tag team, and now all these people want to be in a tag team with him, and he's saying no. He said no to the Dark Order. Now he's saying no to Matt Hardy. It's going to be a great way to just realize that I think Hangman's going to find it within himself that he's back to being a singles wrestler.
Yeah, especially with Kenny as the world champion. This is what it's leading up to: Kenny versus Hangman. This is long form storytelling at its best. This is over a year going. So who knows? Who knows when the conclusion will come? Maybe it'll be next year.
I think that's the best way to do it. I think Kenny Omega needs to be longer than Moxley's. I think it just has to happen. I think you have him being this belt collector. You have to pay that off, and you have to pay the fact that Kenny Omega seems unbeatable, and that will just get us further behind Hangman. And I think it gives time to, as we start getting the vaccine rolled out, we'll start to get more fans into the building. So I think this is ultimately going to lead to that. So I'm all for AEW taking their sweet time if it means Omega becomes like the longest reigning champion.
Yeah, man.
So next up, was probably the weirdest segment in AEW history. It was the wedding between Penelope and Kip, but that's not what the best part of this segment was. What was the best segment, Mark? What was the best part, Mark?
Penelope Ford. Oh my God, she.
It's Father James Mitchell.
Well, no, Penelope Ford. Is there a more beautiful woman in wrestling? We'll talk about Father. We'll talk about Father James Mitchell. Never in my wildest dream did I think the next person from Impact Wrestling to appear on AEW would be Father James Mitchell. He did a great job as the the minister of the ceremony. But come on, man, I've been Penelope Ford fan day one, so.
The way Tony Schiavone and JR, this was their commentary was so good during this entire thing, making fun of Mitchell's eyebrows. They're saying like this guy, Tony Schiavone hinting that he's like this dark lord, and he's like, wait, did he just say unholy, JR? And JR is like, I don't know, I'm not paying attention right now. It was so good, and it got a little weird because I thought someone was going to interrupt the marriage, but it goes off without a hitch.
It fell apart after the ceremony. Once Miro attacked that empty box and Chuck went outside the ring to clean it up, the cameraman should have been given a stern talking to afterwards, because he blew the whole surprise. He totally got the butler Charles Taylor putting the chain around Miro's leg, and Miro's supposed to act like he doesn't doesn't see it. It fell apart there.
Yeah, I think the direction was good, but it was poorly executed. I don't think Miro was expecting the Hadaway chants coming in there with of them singing What Is Love. I don't think he was expecting it. I think he was just trying to be like, and then he got into singing it, which was kind of weird, but it sort of made it memorable. But blowing that shot at the end, how can you blow that? Poor Chuck Taylor's been doing all this shit just for them to blow that spot and then blow the Cassidy reveal. It was just bad. I mean, I wish it didn't happen that way. I just feel bad for the talent involved.
Yeah, and I like Chuck Taylor as the butler. I think it could lead to a lot of funny stuff, but Orange Cassidy coming to be like his, almost like the big brother who's going to beat up Miro for Chuck Taylor, does Chuck Taylor no favors. Chuck Taylor needs to be the one who stands up for himself. Maybe that'll happen. Maybe Miro destroys Orange Cassidy. Who knows? Because sometimes the booking with Orange Cassidy is a little weird because, after his big victory against Jericho, then he gets, beaten up by Brody Lee. So it's I don't know if they've even figured out what Orange Cassidy is yet. So
yeah, it's a shame. But next up, we sort of get a rematch from last week's match. We get Lance Archer versus Eddie Kingston, in which was a lumberjack match, apparently. Did you even realize it was a lumberjack match?
Well,
that was the smallest group of lumberjacks I've ever seen in my. I thought like, oh, the Gun Club's just here to like help Lance Archer. I didn't realize they were lumberjacks.
Yeah, the lumberjacks weren't really all around the ring either. They were just on one side and the other side. It was like the same way the audience is set up. There's the heel side and the babyface side, and you pretty much just had, like you said, Gun Club, and then all the other heel like B-level tag teams, as well as some audience members who probably appear on Dark, but I don't know who they are.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, the match was an okay match. It wasn't as good as their match the week before, but it really just gave Archer the win, heated him up a bit, and sort of ended this feud.
And last week we were debating, is Archer a heel or a babyface? After this week, he is clearly a babyface.
I like kick-ass like big men baby faces, not like Big Show, yeah, right, but like Braun Strowman, like get these hands before he went off the rails with the Strowman Express. Like I like the big, like I like Kane when he was a face. Like I like just when the big dudes are out there with no other mission than to kick ass. There's sort of that visceral get behind him. I don't think anyone plays that character better than Lance Archer, and he definitely comes back to really, in the end,
I think as a babyface, though,
Mhm.
he really doesn't need Jake the Snake. I feel like Jake the Snake would be better served talking
Mhm.
for a heel.
Do you think they're keeping Jake? Do you think Jake's gonna become face too? Like, do you think his promos are going to be the same but directed towards the heels?
I have a feeling that's the direction it's going to go.
Because I like cranky old man Jake the Snake. So if they keep that going, that'll be fantastic. So main event time once again. Probably a phenomenal main event from AEW Dynamite, but that's what you've come to expect from Kenny Omega, and also what you expect from the Good Brothers. So this was Jon Moxley, Pac, and Ray Phoenix, because as we know, Ray Phoenix's brother was taken out the week beforehand. So we end up getting Omega and the Good Brothers ultimately defeating Phoenix, Pac, and Moxley.
Phoenix was the star of this match. He
Mhm.
was flying all over the ring. He did that dive outside where he he almost cleared the guardrail. Yeah, he was on fire. This is the Phoenix I wanted to see since day one, where his first appearance, him and his brother took out the Young Bucks, and I was like, oh, these guys are going to be the top guys in
Mhm.
AEW, and it didn't quite work out. I think the pandemic had a lot to do with that because they couldn't come to the
Mhm.
US, so it really took a lot of wind out of their sails. But yeah, I'm loving this. And Good Brothers, Gallows has never looked better. He's in
Mhm.
phenomenal shape. He looks like a monster. It's a shame, like this Gallows, I could see him back in the day doing a run with the Undertaker, just
Mhm.
a classic big man versus big man.
And it's I mean, we get him earlier in the show pretending like the belt is like dick, and Machine Gun's telling him like that's one big piece you got there, brother. And it's just like this is what they are. This is what they should have been the entire time in WWE. This is what they came to give Impact Wrestling. It's a much needed shot in the arm because they don't have characters like this on AEW. They have wrestling characters, not sports entertainer characters, and they are those characters. And Gallows is just in fantastic shape, fantastic promo. I'm all for if you watch me, I'm all for bringing more being the elite uh, Gallows and Anderson on screen, and that's what they're doing. So nothing but good marks from this match, but kind of buried the lead here because the big story happened afterwards when Kenta, the number one contender, right, for the IGWP United States Championship, goes after Jon Moxley and hits him with a go to sleep because Moxley is the champion.
Yeah, no, this was awesome, and Bullet Club member. So it plays right into Omega and the Good Brothers, who have been repping the Bullet Club big time. This was awesome. This was a big surprise. I had no idea this was happening. I think it caught a lot of people by surprise. And another good piece of business. Who comes out to save Moxley? But it's Lance Archer, who Moxley defeated for the title.
Yeah, it's nice that I think for us who are fans of all professional wrestling, this is going to be a nice little nice that's a nice little thing for us to be like, oh shit, like Moxley beat Archer for the championship. But I hope they address that next week on Dynamite, which I have a feeling they definitely are going to do so.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. They would be the one company that would, because they seem to acknowledge every every company.
So what do you think this leads for Revolution? Moxley do you think Moxley loses to do you think Moxley loses to Omega in a one-on-one bout, or what do you think this sort of leads up for? Because Revolution's only is about a month away, and they're already starting that sort of slow build for it. Do you think it leads to Moxley Omega 3?
I think so, and I think Omega has to win this. I'm sure it'll be by some sort of shenanigans that could continue the feud and maybe lead to like Bullet Club versus whatever faction Moxley can put together.
Yeah, I'm hoping they do a Triple H style. I hope, and by Triple H style, I don't mean classic bury the shovel Triple H. I mean having a heel win clean, and that because that's my favorite type of heel. I think I love to hate Triple H so much because he did all this shit, but he ultimately ended up winning. So it's what made the losses to The Rock. It's what made the losses to Stone Cold really feel that much better. And I think Kenny Omega can be that. We know he's the best in the world. So I'd hate to see him win again by shenanigans. I hope they just have him win clean and Moxley has to realize, well, damn, maybe I can't. Maybe this guy does have my number. Maybe he's just the one guy that can.
Yeah. So next week we're getting Omega and Kenta versus Moxley and Archer, right?
Yes, and oh boy, hose me down for that match. We may be snowed in, and me being hot for that match may actually help warm the East Coast, and the snow won't be too bad.
Yeah, man. What a time to be a wrestling fan, man.
I gotta tell you, I got out off my sofa and I went like the little dance because there's like nothing excites me more than to have New Japan Pro Wrestling come in here. Not like just think about it, because the Rainmaker can come in, right? It's just the Tamatanga and their Bullet Club can come in. There's just going to be so many things that you can do, and I think AEW is doing such a good job keeping themselves relevant in a pandemic. Because I don't know about you, but man, that Thunderdome. Have you watched any WWE lately?
I try. It's hard.
The Thunderdome takes me out, man. What was
Yeah.
fun, what was once nice in the beginning, as you start to see how Impact has some fans in. I mean, Impact as AEW has some fans in there. It makes you think, why can't they do it?
Yeah. Yeah, no, they said there's going to be fans at WrestleMania this year, and WrestleMania is not that far away. It's actually the conclusion of our fantasy league, so
Yeah, man. I just taking a look at the scores right now. I updated it, and man, the Street Profits have not been on television in like 2 months.
yeah.
Jordan Grace got me my 1 point finally from last night. So I'm just knocking on the door at 140. I think I'm gone. Thank God that Kenny Omega and Hangman Page can't be drafted together next season. Oh my God. They just
Yeah, no,
killing
they were
me.
the number one pick, and it's worked out well for me. Same with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns was a midway through the season pick that I just took because Karrion Kross got injured. So he's killed it for me. And then the number 3 person on my roster is Brian Myers, who people gave me a hard time. They said you got too many Impact people. Phil's got the superior team, but all these Impact guys,
The pay-per-views.
they wrestle practically every week. They're getting me wins. So it'll be interesting next season if we do another season. If you follow my playbook and draft heavy on Impact.
Hey, Moose is finally getting me point. Moose, I remember, got me. He was 1-0 for the longest time, and that was it because he wrestled once, right? And it was beating EC3. That's how the last time. Think about it, Moose wrestled anybody was EC3 once, because we started the fantasy league. He was in that. He was looking for
He beat up Moose a bunch of times, and
right,
then
and now he's starting to get those wins again. Finally.
yeah.
So I'm now hoping that Moose's title victory comes after WrestleMania, so I can get those points at least on a new thing, when I know I will draft Moose probably pretty high because he's my dude from Impact.
Yeah. So Phil, where can people find you at?
You can find me and some new art coming. My social media presence will become bigger again on Twitter and Instagram at AnimatedPhil.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Coney Waves. Make sure you subscribe to Primetime Poulton. Hit those notifications, and please go check out An American Wolf in London, another Eddie Edwards story on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Book shipping now. And make sure you check out Sea Dog and Codename Killswitch Book 2 on Indiegogo. I want to thank everyone for watching. We had a few quiet people in the chat tonight. We appreciate it. Anyway, Phil and I, we will check you guys out next week. Thanks for watching.